Karmakut has just recently released the first dev update for an upcoming game, Bellum, and to say my hopes are rising would be an understatement. So for this video, versus the usual of me just watching and commenting on the video live, I will break up my thoughts in the order Karmakut speaks of them in the video. So without further ado, let's jump into the movement and gunplay. Movement is something that can make or break a game. It is what mostly contributes to the feel of a game. For instance, 0 Hour has always had a feel that I didn't much like, and I think it's most in part due to the movement of the character. This is an aspect of the game that unfortunately we won't really know the pros and cons of until we have hands on the game. He also speaks on the gunplay and their thoughts on it. He mentions getting in touch with a lot of shooters, namely looks like controlled pairs, which I'm a big fan of, and he states that they're trying to strike a balance of a slight skill requirement to properly aim and shoot the weapons over sustained fire. While working on my FiveM server's medical system, I've learned that a medical system is a really hard thing to implement properly. On one hand, you need it to be complex enough that death and injury have weight in the game, but also not so overly complex that it becomes a medical simulator more than a tactical shooter. From what I'm seeing so far, it does look balanced. There are bandages, basic medications, blood bags, and also tourniquets that... Wait. That's not how that works. So here lies another thing in the tactical MILSIM space. The fans of military games are insanely detail-oriented. I mean, the DCS game, which is a military flight sim, had people leaking actual classified documents in order to make the F-16 more accurate. While this is obviously a work in progress, and these are small in the grand scheme of the whole game's design, it's these small things that the community is looking at. I am, however, in full faith that small things like this will probably be fixed before full release. According to the devs, shot placement will be key, as expected in a MILSIM. We see in the video that the shots are not fatal until the shots strike the pelvic bowl. Then we see the player drop. We don't see or hear much talk on the durability, classes, or weight effects of the armor, so that does leave me with some questions. A big driver for why I think Bellum will have a great ATAC setup is because of their purpose for making it. He states that it's in an effort to minimize the UI clutter. They showcase its ability to have map waypoints, communication, and battlefield organization, but not much else yet. Karmakut does make mention of the future capability of electronic warfare and drones, which may be utilized through the ATAC system. Another thing in the MILSIM space that I feel is only truly handled well in the ARMA space by mods so far is effective and realistic comms. Most current games, aside from ARMA, usually end up using Discord as the voice chat of choice, making distance and death meaningless due to the constant comms. This is, like the medical system, something that needs to be utilized carefully. Too little complexity makes it feel limiting, but too much detail becomes overwhelming for new players and maybe keeps them from playing. Karmakut also speaks on the organization of teams being locked, making a standard for how the teams are organized. But this leads into my final thoughts a bit, so I'm going to hold those for later. The game has great visuals so far, and it looks like a ARMA meets Gray Zone Warfare kind of look. He also speaks on the reverb system when indoors and shows a demo of it in play. When a MILSIM game's audio causes you to need to yell to your teammates when under fire, I feel this is a success in audio. The level of detail in the uniforms and reload animations is looking top tier, and what I've been waiting for in a MILSIM game. Immersion is what makes or breaks MILSIM games, and from what we can see so far in the devlogs, the game is well on its way. So we are left on a severe cliffhanger, and one that brings me to the hardest question I have so far, and that is, what is the gameplay loop? I think this is something that is hurting the amount of players in the MILSIM tactical shooter space already. People hear of a new update, such as a new map, they jump on and play the new map for a day or two, and then go back to their other games. This is because of the predictability and not much of a climb in the scene. Ready or Not try to address this a bit with their campaign mode, and I'll leave it up to you guys in the comments for if that helped or not. I feel what has kept ARMA alive for so long is when they allow players to create a system of their own maps, missions, and even campaigns like we do in our ARMA unit stack. This allows for a persistent flow of new experiences without that weight being on the game's developers. While I don't expect this to be in the first version of Bellum or even a year into the release, I do feel this addition would create a force to be reckoned with in the MILSIM space, even more than it likely already will be. They then go on to show about 10 minutes of raw gameplay, and it makes me so hopeful and excited for this game's release. I'm not going to show that full gameplay here so that more traffic can get to the Karmakut video, so I've linked it down below and at the end of this video. So finally, what do you think? Will this game level the MILSIM space and begin to build it back the way it should be? So I guess in simple terms, will Bellum make MILSIM great again? Thanks you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Everybody, please be safe, stay happy, and peace out.